is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. This your boy Joe Squad. If you want to join the squad, man, definitely hit that subscribe button. So, man, today we're gonna be reacting to a clip, and I really like what Jalen Rose had to say. And I think it's important. And before I get into this, guys, forgive me. I'm kind of a little under the weather. So I'm kind of going, trying to get myself together, man. The weather changes out here is crazy. But I really like what Jalen Rose had to say. I think, his perspective on basketball, being a historian of the game and not remaining a prisoner of the moment, was really good to see, and I think that a lot of the takes that we see on these these sports shows are, a lot of times they're based on who the media wants to push, and what's the agenda, and I think that, in my opinion, you rarely see a honest take, and when a take is honest because it catches your attention pretty quickly. um and I not that this is one of those takes. Clearly, I think that there's still an agenda. Obviously, we're celebrating LeBron. In no way, shape, or form is this video to discredit LeBron. I watched LeBron's speech tonight, and before the game against the Bucks tonight, and man, there's no way you can hate LeBron James. I think a lot of the criticism isn't necessarily towards LeBron. And I think that that's where things get misconstrued. People think that because we're debating them that we somehow hate LeBron. That's not the case. It's just a lot of the debates that you have. Those debates are usually filled with accomplishments, that of LeBron, things that he's done. But a lot of times, they try to diminish other superstars. My biggest priority is to advocate for Kobe Bryant. And the reason for that is the media's blatant disregard for the greatness of Kobe Bryant. I don't know what Kobe did. I don't know what he did, man. But the media will not give Kobe Bryant his praise. And ironically, I feel that there is a rumbling. There is a increase in the mentioning of Kobe. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but they're starting to mention Kobe Bryant's name a little more here lately. Um, and I think people are starting to understand that in the past, the game changing wasn't as much of a conversation because the game hadn't changed so drastically. It's a conversation now when putting things into context because the drasticness of how the game has changed today is way vastly different. But anyway, man, let's take a listen to what Jalen Rose had to say, and I'm gonna chime in and give y'all my thoughts.
In so many different ways since that time. How would you describe the meaning of what we saw from LeBron James and that record changing hands last night?
It's arguably, other than winning championships, it's arguably.
Hey, you notice Jalen Rose made sure to throw that in there, throw that little nugget in there. Other than winning championships.
Arguably like the greatest feat one individual can accomplish.
Facts. No, that's facts. I think that LeBron becoming the NBA's league leading scorer of all time is a tremendous feat. You cannot discredit that accomplishment. His ability to stay healthy, score at a consistent level, at a consistent pace, at a high level, and at a consistent pace, no matter what team he's on, no matter what system he's in, LeBron is able to consistently be a force and have an impact offensively. So that's definitely worth paying homage to.
Because on every level, regardless of your skill set, and Monica, you know this, the thing that people always pay attention to is who scored the most points. And when you're trying to get young people to fall in love with the basketball, two things happen when you walk into a gym. You dribble the ball and you shoot the ball. The hardest thing to do is to consistently put that basketball in the hoop with accuracy, with consistency. And for LeBron James to be able to do it over a 20-year period, I was just looking at the first basket.
Facts. Like I said, man, to put together that level of consistency is unprecedented. But, I mean, you have to acknowledge, and this is where I say you have to add context. So let's go back a little bit. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the person who held the record. Kareem held the record for 38 years? And I think this is kind of where it gets a little creepy. So, and I'm going to fact check that real quickly while I'm talking about it. But I want to say Kareem held the record for 38 years. LeBron, he breaks the record by scoring 38 points, right? And I want to say he's age 38. Isn't that crazy, man?
He ever scored in the NBA. He was coming off screens at that time of his career, did a fade, and knocked down a jumper. He don't even play like that anymore at all, in any way, shape, or form. So to watch his game grow and evolve, to be able to shoot one-leg jump shots, to be able to turn over both shoulders in the post, to be able to shoot pull-up jumpers off from three, to be able to shoot off the catch. And then, by the way, when he turns the corner and he puts those burly shoulders into you, people are bouncing off of him like bumper cars. Still at this point of his career, I still got some bruises from bumping off of those shoulders when he was young, when he scored 55 points early in his career against the Toronto Raptors when I played for that team.
So, just quickly, I was correct. LeBron is age 38, right? He's age 38. Kareem held the record for 38 years. LeBron scored 38 points. Isn't that crazy? So, I don't know if I'm not a gematria guy, but I'm sure that there's something going on with the number 38. So, you got 38,000 points scored, right? You got LeBron, age 38, breaking the record. You got Kareem holding that record for 38 years. And then you got LeBron scoring 38 points. So, I don't know, man. Let me fact check. I'm gonna fact check again.
So for his longevity, for his durability, for his consistency, his versatility, when you start talking about the most versatile players of all time, Wilt Chamberlain is the only guy to ever lead the league in points, rebounds, and assists. We know about the Big O and his triple doubles, and Magic Johnson come to mind. But in the modern era, LeBron James has proven to be the most versatile player of his generation, and that's so very phenomenal.
He's first all-time in scoring as of last night. He's fourth all-time in assists. Monica, again, for the audience just joining us, I don't have adjectives. I mean, this has been my job for 30 years, and I don't really have the appropriate way to capture the magnitude, because I agree with Jalen. There is no greater individual accomplishment that we have seen in this sport in almost 40 years since Kareem himself broke the record.
And I agree with both of you. And I'm with you, Greeny. I'm like, we need a big, fat, traditional thesaurus so we can just flip through it to find all the words that fit in terms of what we've been able to witness. And again, I continue to say.
So I want to backtrack just a little bit, right? Because I want you guys to hear the question at the very beginning of this segment. And when Greeny asked asked Jalen Rose about his thoughts on the GOAT debate, coming after LeBron breaking the record.
140 consecutive games. Who has the second? And I'm going to tell you, in the games.
Snap your W-2 and file Fed and State for free. Simple tax returns only. See if you qualify.
The estimated hold time is now 96 minutes.
And so many other things. All right, Jalen is here. Monica is here. As we're,
It's arguably.
how would you describe the meaning of what we saw from LeBron James and that record changing hands last night?
It's
news that we saw. And so you know what happens, Jalen. There's no way to avoid it. You know I don't like going down this road because you and I talk about it all the time. But
All right, so right here, they're going to have the GOAT debate, right? The GOAT debate is what gets them the most ratings when you talk about basketball. So they have to have it at some point throughout the week or throughout, whatever segment they're talking about, But listen to what the question that he asked Jalen Rose.
today you sort of can't avoid it. When people ask you, because everywhere you go today they're going to, what does this mean for the GOAT debate, Jalen Rose? What are you going to tell them all day long?
And this isn't the greatest player of this generation. This isn't the greatest player of the 2000s. And it's a cop-out if you get paid to talk about sports and you're not smart enough to put into context what people did that you didn't necessarily watch play.
Bingo. Now, I will say one of the hardest things to do is to have the GOAT debate, right? And try to put into context what Bill Russell did, what Wilt Chamberlain did, those players, Oscar Robertson, players like that, they just don't, I don't think they get enough credit. Bill Russell, 11-time champion, right, in 13 seasons. That's a huge accomplishment. You won every time you played, damn near, But what makes it difficult for those players that played back then is the number of teams they had in the league. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe that league only had 8 teams? You might have to fact check that one, but I'm thinking that when Bill Russell played, the league itself, didn't have very many teams. And then the caliber of talent that you played, you're the only black athlete in the NBA damn near that's like you, right? And then you have Wilt Chamberlain come along, and I think that Bill Russell's accomplishments is measured up against the fact that he played in the league with Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt Chamberlain didn't win a championship. One of the most dominant players ever did not win a championship, and it's just crazy that you have someone who can score 100 points in a game and only get one championship, and that championship came when he teamed up with Jerry West, I want to say. I think he teamed up with Jerry West and won a championship. But, yeah, man, crazy.
As somebody that was born in the 70s, I remember collecting basketball cards and trying to track down newspapers and track down information of players that competed before me. And I want everybody to break this down. Greatest of all time. That says greatest of all time. That means the things that you've accomplished are more than the people that you're compared to. And if we're talking about the great.
So Bill Russell played in a league where they only had 10 teams. So he played in an era where there was fewer NBA teams, which means, well, I'm not going to say that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that, you had more stacked teams, right? So you think about the super team era. Think about the super team era and the fact that a lot of those teams were built, those super teams, like in the modern era, were built from players from other teams, getting chosen from the 32 teams in the NBA versus a situation where there's only 10 teams in the NBA. So those teams are probably all stacked with the best players, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's, and I know a lot of people have Bill Russell in their top 10, and rightfully so. I think that what he was able to accomplish, is unprecedented. It's almost more impressive than what Michael and LeBron accomplished. To win 11 titles in a league where, because we like to discredit Bill Russell because the league was not as developed as it is today. But I think it's twofold. You have a league where there's only 10 teams, but not considering the fact that all that talent is on 10 teams. There's not another 12 teams or, 22 teams to spread the talent out, right? So then you have 10 teams with all of that talent, and this man won 11 championships. That'll never be done. There's a lot of records that are going to get broken. That record will never be broken. Mark my words, bro. That record will never be broken. There's not another player. If Jordan didn't do it, nobody else is going to do it, bro.
Of all time, I can't ignore some feats of human beings that accomplish things that LeBron just has not individually been able to accomplish yet. One of them is Air Jordan. When we're talking about great players and we said scoring is the greatest metric we can take, let's not ignore the fact that he has 10 scoring titles and LeBron has 1. Let's not ignore that. Let's not ignore that he has not 1 three-peat, he has 2 three-peats. LeBron has not been able to accomplish that just yet. Now let's go to the OGs. Let's not ignore the person that was standing on the court last night. LeBron passed his record, but did he pass him of all time? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? For you guys that don't know, the unstoppable skyhook that landed him winning 6 championships and 6 NBA MVPs, who had the record and only made 1 three-pointer in the history of his career. So that's a level of dominance around the basket that we just had not seen. Now, Bill Russell should not be ignored in this conversation, young whippersnappers. He won 11 championships in 13 years. And I know the video was grainy, and I know y'all want to talk about who he played against, but you're greater against the opponents that you're put in front of. And he had a level of dominance when he played that just has not happened. He's the actual Lord of the Rings, Bill Russell.
Right. I mean, it is what it is, man. He's the guy, man. He's the greatest winner in basketball history. Michael Jordan came, and I think he did it in a fashion that we've never seen before. with the glamour and the tongue out and the hanging in the air, and the game winners and the big scoring performances. It had never been done that way. A guard has never taken over the league, and that was the first time we seen hero ball. Right, he galvanized the country um by putting the ball in the hoop. You know, fadeaways, game winning shots. Dunking over Patrick Ewing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just about his skill set in winning the championships, man. I think it was just really the way he did it. He came first, right? You know what I'm saying? He's Christopher Columbus. You know what I'm saying? He came and did it first. He discovered it first. And now everybody after him is trying to live up to that. And it's just hard to measure up to MJ, man. It really is.
And so now the conversation gets a little tricky for me after that. Because it's hard for me, it's so very hard for me to ignore the Black Mamba. So you ask me what.
Once again, Kobe's name is starting to gain a little traction in the media. Starting to gain a little traction, right? And I wish Jalen Rose would have went a little bit more in depth with what Kobe actually managed to do that LeBron didn't do, because they make this all about stats, right? So let's dive in a little bit. Let's go a little deeper. LeBron James came into a situation, he and Michael came into a situation with the car running, keys in the ignition to the franchise, right? Michael Jordan entered the league on a team with people, athletes that were doing cocaine. They were doing cocaine, smoking cigarettes in the locker room. Michael Jordan comes in from North Carolina focused, right? He not doing no drugs. He not smoking no Joes. He not doing none of that, man. He's strictly focusing on basketball, right? So Michael Jordan was your first athlete that was kind of modern in the sense of sports medicine, right? Taking care of his body. That's not a whole lot of talks about Michael Jordan and how he took care of his body. But we all know Michael Jordan loved his cigars. You know what I'm saying? So he had his habits. But man, the dude was he entered a league where, man, people was just hooping, man. Man. And I hate to say that because it's almost like a slight to Michael, but it's really not. We're looking at, how Michael was able to kind of maturate into who he became, right? They fostered his ability early, when he entered the league. LeBron James. LeBron entered the league and was handed the keys to the franchise fresh out of high school, right? Cavaliers were trash. Let's just call it what it is. The Cavaliers were trash. The Bulls were trash. LeBron entered a situation where he basically was, if not the best player, one of the best players on his NBA team, not solely because of his talent and his skill and his greatness, not solely because of that, but partly because the Cavaliers were just bad. They were just a bad team. Right? They had the number one pick in the draft because they were a bad team. They were tanking to get LeBron. Pretty much. Right? They were sorry. So then LeBron comes into the NBA and given the keys to the ship, right? To make mistakes, to go and have those early experiences as an 18-year-old, to maturate into who he is today. to me, Kobe had it tougher than both LeBron and Michael Jordan. Kobe comes into the Los Angeles Lakers, right? At that time, the Los Angeles Lakers actually have championship aspirations. Nick Van Exel, right? Eddie George. Not Eddie George, I'm sorry. Eddie Jones, right? Was an all-star. Him and Nick Van were all-stars on the Lakers. So Kobe comes in and you have an all-star in front of you, right? Because it was Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones was the man. People forget that Eddie Jones was like the man, dog. You dig? Like, people forget that Kobe was behind them at age 17. You know what I'm saying? He was behind them at age 17 and had to really work his way through that. You know? Because they had Shaq. You know what I'm saying? They had Shaq. They thinking about winning a championship. So they not in a position to just hand Kobe the keys. Man, go do your thing. Go be Showboat. You know what I'm saying? Go shoot fadeaways, all of that. But because Kobe was so great, because Kobe was coming off the bench, right? Remember? He was coming off the bench. But because he was so good, dog. He was so great at an early age, at 17, 18 years of age, right? He wins the dunk contest. Okay. Goes into All-Star weekend. Not the starter on his own team, but starts in the All-Star game, if I remember correctly. Right? Battling Michael Jordan till they froze Kobe out. They froze Kobe out. He's battling Michael Jordan for the All-Star game MVP, right? There was a time where the All-Star game actually meant something, right? You got East versus West. You got all these superstars. Who's going to show up and show out? Who's going to show up and prove that they're the best player in the league? Yeah, the All-Star game is entertaining. You got all these All-Stars playing on one team. That's what makes the All-Star game so entertaining. It's not that the players are not playing hard. It didn't used to always mean that. The All-Star game used to be competitive. Like, we trying to beat you. You know what I'm saying? I want to prove also that I'm the best player on this court. So the All-Star game MVP, man, he got to be the best player in the league. Kobe got 4 of those, right? He got 4 of those. I'm the best player, just to let y'all know. I got 4 of these for that reason. One thing that LeBron did, I think that hurt him, that Kobe didn't have to do, he stacked the deck. Man, if LeBron stay in Cleveland, dog, and do half of what he did, if he get a championship or 2 in Cleveland, right? We still having this conversation, but it's even harder to argue against LeBron. With 2 championships, you stay in Cleveland, you become the league all-time leading scorer. You got 4 league MVPs, 2 finals MVPs. It's hard to argue, dog. You done took the Cavaliers to 10 NBA finals. You know, you won 2 of those finals. Man, you a legend, dog. Like, you, I think his stature, his legend will be so much greater if he don't leave Cleveland and manage to get them that first championship, maybe, and don't leave, and or maybe get 2 or 3 in Cleveland, and you don't leave and you don't stack the deck. Kobe never had to do that. Kobe, mark my words, dog. I want y'all to think about this. Kobe is the only superstar to beat a super team, right? Or win back-to-back titles without a top 75, top 50 player. Kobe's the only one to do that, dog. To go back-to-back without a top 50 NBA player. Top 50, top 75. I mean, if you want to say, I guess you can say Tim Duncan did it. But, Kobe literally won a championship by itself. You know what I'm saying? Without another all-star, another superstar on his team. You know what I'm saying? In an era where, the league was starting to transition into stacking teams. People forget about that '09 finals where the Orlando Magic beat the Cavaliers. The league was preparing us for a LeBron Kobe NBA finals. You know what I'm saying? With the puppets and all of that. But the reason why we didn't get that was because LeBron couldn't beat Orlando. We thought, man, Orlando, man, they about to punish Orlando to get to the finals. No, they lose to Orlando in the Dwight Howard. So we never got to see the matchup, because they were on course, they were on par to go and do that, but they never got an opportunity to do it, So, I think LeBron and a number of players that he's had an opportunity to play with, whether they old or young, you name them, LeBron done had them. You want shooters, you want defenders, you want superstars. He's had them. He done had the Shane Battiers. He done had the Ray Allens. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He done had shit. Man, ADs, the Russell Westbrooks, the Melos, the, you know what I'm saying, Kyrie's, the Kevin Loves, the Chris Bosh. Come on, man. He done had them all, bro. He even touched Shaq. Shaq done even played with him. D Rose done been on the team with him. So I mean, he's literally stacked the deck. Like, people got mad at KD. What y'all mad at KD for? LeBron started this. He ruined the league. Why are we mad at KD? What's the energy with KD? They mad because he went to the Warriors and the Warriors was already good? So y'all mad? Nah, don't be mad. Deal with that. Now you got to deal with it. You feel me? Now you got to deal with it. So I think that those are some things, man, And then we talk about scoring, since this is all about the scoring record. Kobe played in the era. Let's not forget. He averaged 35 points a game one season. I think 2005, 05, 06. 35 points a game. Allen Iverson was behind him, like 33 points a game. In a league where the total team average of points scored in the game was like 90-something points, dog. The league average for points in games today is like 113. So there's no defense, right? Because we playing positionless basketball where we stretching the floor to open the lanes up, right? So now the biggest player on the court might be 6'8", 6'9". So you playing a different era of basketball. There's more possessions in this era. I want to say it's like 10 to 12 more possessions. People are shooting more threes. You know what I'm saying? Like 30-some threes a game from like 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 15 as a team, a game. You know what I'm saying? So everything is changing. So, of course, you're going to score more points. I don't really think LeBron breaking the record was, I'm not going to say it wasn't challenging, but I think he was just at the right place in the right time. Transitioning into this era made it extra simple, for him to realize, like, man, I can break this record, man. With the league being the way that it is, I'm not gonna call the league soft. I'm not gonna say that, but with the league not allowing you to touch people, making it more offensively entertaining, That's what this brand of basketball is all about. It's entertainment. So if y'all playing defense the way that they used to play defense, and there's a ton of resistance, that's not very entertaining. You know?
People are going to say when they asked me about the GOAT conversation today, well, I'm in Los Angeles, and that groundswell for Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, to be in this conversation is definitely happening. So for me, the next few people, I'm going to give LeBron James that edge. I'm going to say LeBron James is fourth on that list of all-time greats. Can't ignore Magic, can't ignore Kobe, I can't ignore Tim Duncan. They all deserve to be a part of that conversation, depending on what your flavor of the moment is. But let's not ignore Jordan.
So I'm glad he brought up Magic, right? Magic played with Kareem. We never saw Magic without Kareem. Like, come on, man. The one where he hit the sky hook, I want to say Kareem got hurt, but had led the entire finals and everything. But because Kareem got hurt and Magic Johnson did the little sky hook and they won, they gave him the MVP. Bro, this is the thing that frustrates me, right? I think sometimes, depending on the argument, I can concede to LeBron sometimes. This shit with Magic Johnson gotta stop. Like, it gotta stop, dog. Like, one thing about LeBron and Michael, more so Michael than LeBron, but you got to see them, somewhat be on a team where it's not just overstacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, in Magic situation, dog, you playing with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, skyhook master. Can drop that skyhook right now if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? You sharing the spotlight. And I think about Kobe and the thought of him and Shaquille O'Neal staying together, right? And finishing their career together. Because it landed Magic in the top 5, him staying with Kareem. So it's interesting to see if they could have won 6 or 7 titles, we having a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? But I think Kobe wanted to separate himself so that he can get into that conversation with Michael. But this thing with Magic, bro, it drives me nuts. I can't stand it. I mean, how can you put him above Kobe? Like, they say he the greatest Laker ever. You know what I'm saying? When you spent your entire career with Kareem. Entire career, right? Kobe didn't spend his entire career with with Shaq. A lot of his accomplishments that he accomplished, somewhere with Shaq, and you got a good percentage of accomplishments without Shaq. Kobe had 2 careers. You know what I'm saying? You got the Fro Kobe and you got the Mamba. The man had 2. He reinvented himself when Shaq left. He became a different animal, right? He was no longer the boy wonder. He became a different animal. He reinvented himself. And it really frustrates me to hear people try to put Magic over Kobe when Magic had the luxury of playing with the cat, Kareem. You know what I'm saying? The league all-time leading scorer was partners in crime with Magic Johnson, dog. But yet, we gonna give Magic the nod. I don't know, man. And I guess his league MVPs, they feel like he got more league MVPs than Kobe. But, man, in all honesty, dog, Kobe should have more league MVPs. Like, Kobe was the best player in the league for years, bro. Clearly. Was destroying the NBA. Literally. And that's the other thing, man. We talk about scoring the ball. Man, the best defender in the NBA right now is probably Marcus Smart. And he's 6'3". Like, I just don't see it, man. I don't see it.
Kareem and Bill Russell. They got the high scores on the video game that ain't nobody taking down, period.
That's fair. And again, everyone will sort of weigh in on all these things as they can. I'm going to hold off on the Anthony Davis thing. I do want to ask one very quick question, Jalen, because you're always the person I ask these things to.
So, man, y'all heard what Jalen Rose had to say. And, man, I just kind of wanted to, you know, bring that to y'all and just, you know what I'm saying, give my input and share my thoughts. I will say that, you know, I think, like I said, I really like that Jalen Rose paid homage to a lot of the players that played before LeBron and the league before, you know, the league today, because the league drastically was different back then and how you played was different. You know, how far you shot the ball from the basket was different. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wasn't shooting threes. It's just a different era of basketball. So, man, I just kind of wanted to touch on that and, you know, have the conversation. But that's all the time I got for you guys tonight, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the you know, just the thought process of trying to debunk some of this stuff and, you know, just having a good old conversation about basketball, man. Congratulations to LeBron. You know, and man, never thought I'd see that record, you know, but, you know, disappear. But, man, I gotta get on there and see LeBron name at the top of the list, man. It's crazy, man. Never thought I would see that. But that's all the time I got tonight, man. Once again, man, subscribe to the channel. You know, like this video, drop a comment. Let me know what your opinion is of, you know, did this make LeBron the GOAT? You know, like, that's how y'all feel? Because he broke the record, you know. So, man, just let me know what y'all thoughts are, man, in the comment section. Till next time, y'all. Joe Nation, I'm out.